Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of On the Bench. You guys were super supportive of my DIY limit straps that I made last week, and I had another idea to go along with that. Something that you can do yourself and does not cost anything. Now, some of the comments I got from my last video about limit straps were, some were negative, like obviously there's going to be people who don't like their ideas and stuff, and that's totally fine. That's your opinion. They've been working awesome for me. But something else that I wanted to talk about this week, now they make them for minis and for the 10th scales, and I'll show you that. And I think you know what I'm talking about here. It's called foams, dual stage foams. Now, I'll try to explain tires and foams and all that stuff. With your stock truck or stock crawler, if you haven't modified it yet, it's going to have probably something like this in it. Just a regular stock foam. It might be white. They even come in like black sometimes. When you order aftermarket tires, say from different companies like Proline and Duratrax and all this stuff like that, they're also going to usually come with a foam very similar to this. Now, I think this one came out of some Prolines, right? And, some people are fine with that, but once you start getting to serious crawling, what you're going to notice something about your tires. Let me see if I can get one down here. Yeah, okay. So what you're going to notice, this just has a regular foam inside of it, okay? What happens is while you're going and rolling over things, it's compressing, right? And grabbing on and all that stuff, what you like. But when your rig is side hilling, just like that, so let's just say your rig's right here, okay? Weight is now shifted onto this corner of your tire, and what can happen is it collapses. See that? And what happens is if you get to that critical point where this collapses in, what ends up happening is the whole tire collapses in and over you go. So what companies have done, and I've used them for years, or at least the last 2 years, I should say, is I started using these. And what these are dual stage foams. It's got the soft part on the top to give you that same squish to go over. But when tires start turning and getting unloaded, what will happen is this center stiffer foam prevents it from collapsing. Okay, does that make sense? Let's see here. I might have one. Yes. So here's a 1.9 tire on a beadlock. And yes, these do have dual stages in them. So what will happen is as this rolls over things, it's still got the squish I want. But when it starts going side hilling, I push really hard on that. You can kind of see it. It keeps the integrity of the tire from collapsing in and keeping my rig more planted, okay? Now, just like with my limit straps, one thing I don't like is how expensive some of these aftermarket parts can be. And for a good set of dual stage foams, they can run you anywhere from, some cheaper knockoffs you could get a set for $20, all the way up. And they even have like 3D printed inserts, which are awesome. I'm not knocking those. Those are fantastic. I just haven't really messed around with them too much because there's usually a long wait time for the printers, and again, they're more expensive. Okay, so out and about like usual, I stumbled across something and I just went off in my head, and let me grab it for you. I found me a $3 pool noodle. Now, obviously, this is too small for say a 1.9 tire, but I want to start looking. Maybe I can find one big enough to fit to make some 1.9s. But for my minis, this might work. Okay? Well, let me cut to the chase. It does work. I've made some, or I'm making some right now, and I've been really excited because they're turning out great. Okay? So, Let me show you this little guy. This is my Cayman Pro. Let me adjust this down a little bit. There you go. And on this side, this tire's off because I'm actually making the one for it right now. It's just got the regular standard foam in it. You see that? In fact, I even pulled one out. There you go. Nice little black foam that was sitting inside of here. Okay? But I was hitting that same problem. Let me turn it this way so you can see. I was hitting that same problem of collapse. You can see that. This side, however, has got the pool noodles in them. And as you can see, I still got my squish, but I want you to see something. Barely any collapse, and I'm pushing just as hard. Same thing back here. Can you see that? Holy crap. Pretty happy. I'm sure I'm not the first person to think of this, so I'm not going to take credit for it. Drop my little hex nut right there. But I'm going to show you how I made them. Or we'll continue to make them because I've got a whole fleet of minis that only one of them have an aftermarket insert in them. And I think I want to start making more for this because this whole pool noodle will make sets and sets and sets. And it was only $3. And if I want more, I'll just go back to the store, spend another $3. Boom. So, flip the camera over to the bench, and I'm going to explain how I did this. All right? Okay, welcome to the bench. So, don't mind the project in the background. That's my Capra, my full-size Capra. I'm working on something. So, I dropped it. Okay, let me get it up. So, here it is, or at least the beginning of one. And all I did was I took the tire on my pool noodle, used a razor blade, cut me just the piece I needed, and I found that the first version of this, just like this, was too stiff. So I'm like, all right, well, I need to add some holes to it. And with this kind of foam, obviously drill bits and everything wouldn't work. It needs to be a clean hole through it. So what I did was I took a simple little acid brush, I think that's what they're called, from Harbor Freight. You know, I have hundreds of these kicking around. Cut off the end to allow excess foam to come out. And at first, I was just pressing it in and turning it kind of like a drill bit, pressing out the holes. And that worked okay. But this was starting to gum up and everything. So what I found with this foam is if I take a lighter, okay, and just heat it up just a little bit. Doesn't need to be super hot. What I can do is come right here, press that right through, and now we have ourselves a hole. See that? See how clean that is? And I'll show you really quick without stopping. If you heat this up about as much as I did last time, I can get about 3 clean holes before it needs to be heated up again. So we'll just kind of come right here, find a nice even spacing. Boom. 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 There you go. You see those? Perfect. So pull some of that gunk out of there. So we'll do it again. Come right here. Nice even spacing. Boom. Boom. And boom. So 6 holes, which now, set this off to the side for a second, gives me that compression while still maintaining the rigidness of the sidewall. So I mounted one of these up like this, and I liked it a lot, but it still felt a little too cramped. Now this is on a Trench King by LGRP. I think these are, let's see here, maybe it says 63 mil, okay, on some Endura brass beadlocks. So what I wanted was I also wanted a little more claps at the top on the tread, so let me get this gunk out of here. So I decided to come back with my little makeshift foam drill bit. Heat it up again. You could use a heat gun, I'm sure, or whatever you got right there. And I just came in between these holes, just halfway off the tread. You can kind of see that. Oh, no, lost my heat. I might use a heat gun next time because the slider's leaving this black soot all over it, but it's okay, it's working. And I'm only about halfway on the pull noodle and about halfway off. Oh, see, we're starting to lose our heat there. Okay, one more time. I'm going to flip this around and fix this one right here. Now, oh, I missed a spot too. Might take a little excess off of that, kind of clean it up. Now, it kind of looks like a gear, right? And what we have here is our new insert. It compresses where it needs to, but also keeps rigid on the side. And I'm going to try to do this on camera without bumping it, but just like any other foam insert, you just got to compress it. Stick it down in there, get it around the tire, shove it in. What I do is I run my fingers down both sides, center it up. And ta-da. Get this nice and even. So, we've got the nice compression on the top and super rigid on the side. So if you've never done a set of beadlocks, you're thinking about getting your first set, it's pretty easy. They usually come in about 3 pieces, just like that. And what you first have, whether they're aluminum or steel or brass, in this case they're brass, is you got the lock ring right here, or not, the center ring. So what you want to do is I put it in sideways like that, and then I lift the tire just to get it in there. See how you can see it sitting in there. Try to center it as best you can. Kind of give it a nice even squish so nothing's getting super compressed on either side. All right. Now these are directional, so I just need to pay attention to what side it's going to be. It's going to be right here, so I want these to go in that way. I put my face on just like that, and you want, what I do is I kind of lift this just a little bit so it's all nice and even on there. Okay, see that? And then we flip it around this other side, and we have these little bolts. I got a magnet over here holding them all so they don't go flying everywhere. So line up your holes. Same thing, kind of lift the bead, get it on that ring, that lock ring. Line them up to their matching holes on there. And then you just take yourself a little guy like this, press it down, start one. Don't over tighten just one. I've found that out. What you want to do is you kind of want to skip one, press down, get it lined up. Oh, my camera's not focusing, sorry. And just kind of work your way around. Oh, can't find my words. In this case, there's 6 of them. I have a couple sets that only have 4, which is definitely less wrench work, but this one definitely gives it an more even pinch across it. Come back through here, tighten all these down. Don't over tighten these little screws. They can break pretty easy. the last one. I didn't see it. It was on the back side of my magnet. And there we go. Just make sure everything feels nice and evenly squishy in there. And here we are. A nice, it's still got the compression, as you can see, but it's got, maybe I can show it in the light here. It doesn't have the breakaway. I'm happy with this. I can't wait to get it back on the back course and test it out. So, I hope this was helpful for you. I will forewarn you to be careful with the noodles. They're not bulletproof. This was my first cut and attempt, and trying to shove it in with all of its membrane in here, it ended up ripping apart. So that's where I came up with the idea, okay, I need to get some holes in there, and which dual purposes also allows the tire to squish more. So yeah, just keep that in mind. And there you go. For $3, I can make myself at least 6 or 7 cars worth of inserts. Easy. Well, I hope that was helpful, guys. If you like that, please subscribe, comment if you have used other things. Just like my limit straps, I had a lot of guys contact me with their versions of it, and they were great. Awesome ideas. Okay? Whatever works and can keep you within a budget, I mean, that's what we aim for. More money for when more expensive things go out, like servos that you can't build yourself. Or maybe you can if you're smart enough. But, yeah. Thank you guys so much. Have a great day.